All right, welcome back. This is the Soul Brother number one of a kind speaking. Johnny Silvercloud, right beside the vicious I'm the vicious abolitionist, and we have the cinnamon sophisticate Rachel Rivera back in town podcast, and damn, I don't have a nickname for
I
you
don't
guys.
have a name. I was thinking it was like the savage socialite. I don't know.
Savage socialite. I like it.
That's what one of my friends called me. So that wasn't something I came up with myself. So
yeah, that actually I like that one. That's what it'll be. That's what it's going to be.
I like that.
The savage socialite.
thank
I love the alliteration too. Rhyming or alliteration that works for me. Well, today we are joined on this AfroSapiophile podcast to talk about what it means to be a black professional. Black professionaling while black, so to speak. In current events, we have this woman named Tamika Cross, Dr. Tamika Cross. She was on Delta Airlines when a person needed medical assistance. She stepped up. The stewardess asked the crew, asked the ticket holders on the plane, like, is there a doctor on the plane? She raised her hand, and then the stewardess was like, now, sweetie, we don't need we actually need a doctor, not just like that, and honestly, this is not and of course, when Dr. Cross attempted to inform the airline, like the Delta Airlines personnel, that, hey, I'm a doctor, they began to interrogate her, which is something that they don't normally do with white people and stuff like that. Like, where do you work? What hospital do you work at? Like any random black person will infinitely lie about their credentials. Like, we love to pretend we're doctors or something. There's
that one dude that, he's been caught like 5 fucking times. They're like, look, you cannot play doctor any motherfucking more. He's just like, I don't understand why. He's like, but why can't I be Doc McStuffins? So we got that one. I can understand the skepticism because of that one motherfucker.
Can I say one thing though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Be boys.
Yeah, you're talking about, okay, so for those who don't know, our ladies here, they're talking about who I call Pookie Hauser, MD. He's this like very young black.
He's slick with it though.
Sorry, but I forgot his name, but his nickname on AfroSapiophile is Pookie Hauser, MD, and he's like this ridiculously young black kid with glasses, and he pretended he was a doctor for quite some bit. This is like a really big story last year. It was pretty funny because
he has to like be smart to be able to fool people that long.
Yeah, he had like pictures looking all like serious and stuff like that.
He's all posed up, and I'm like, oh.
He was running his business though. He had his own like weed shop, hair salon, babysitter shop going on. But up here.
Yeah, Pookie Hauser MD. I need to find out who that guy was though. But yeah, for the most part,
hilarious.
Yeah, and he did it more than once.
Yes, like 5 times.
He will do great things.
Yeah.
He said, "Why go to med school?"
Yeah.
Yeah, who's this kid's name? Good God Almighty, somebody from Florida.
Of course.
Malachi Love, that's his name. Malachi Love.
Oh, Malachi.
Oh, Malachi. Okay, yeah, Malachi Love.
Yeah, it's Malachi.
Man, that's a name. That's like he should be a radio host.
That's
a name like that.
Name.
Hello.
He'll probably be a radio host tomorrow.
I'm Malachi Love here.
Apparently.
He will now. Yeah, all you have to do is hear this, and they'll be like, "Coming to you with the news and the blues." He'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then he'll be advertising, his gynecological services on the commercials. I mean, he's just a jack of all trades, master of none. So,
yeah.
Wow. Okay, but in all seriousness, we have Tamika, Dr. Tamika Cross, and she, her experience is it's very painful because this is the Black experience of being a Black professional anywhere in America. People tend to think that you are. They wish it's almost like they want to believe that you're not who you are. Like where does this come from? Why can't you exist as is? Why can't you go to college?
They would rather doubt first.
You're guilty until proven
innocent. Exactly.
Yeah, so
the doubt comes in before anything else, and then you have to work like hell to remove that doubt. But even then, it's like, so could accomplish great things. You could be at the top of your game, but even then, it's like they question what you did to get there. And they're like, oh, it's affirmative action. So I mean, it's always something. You're never gonna be good enough. So I just stopped trying. As a professional woman, I just stopped trying. I don't give a fuck.
I think that's kind of the point too, with affirmative action and certain scholarship programs and things like that. They are so quick to say, this is, you people have this, you people have that. Are you not happy with that? They don't understand that us people that have that, it's basically white women. White women are the ones who all these things were set up for when it comes to the welfare, when it comes to the college scholarships, when it comes to all these things. It was white women. White women, mothers, stuff like that. So they sit there and they just throw it off on us. And then whenever Black people and brown people and other people of color make it, they're like, see, what about the other 80%? Why can't y'all do what he's doing? There's no excuses, because look at Barack Obama and Oprah. And it's
they come to the exception.
Yeah.
And then whenever you do make it, they're like, oh, you're selling drugs, aren't you? You're selling ass, aren't you? You're doing something illegal, right? You're not paying taxes, right? There's something that you're doing to find some kind of loophole. You're doing something illegal to make it, because you can't possibly make it past my point, because you're a nigger. You're a spigger.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just one of those.
Yep.
You're a spigger. Like, it's one of those things. Like, you're always something and not enough, but whenever you have to work harder to get to where you are, you work your ass off way harder as a Black, brown person or a female. And then it's like, well, I guess I'll finally see you as a human after you outdo all these others.
Yeah. So, do y'all have any experiences with this here? Like, has this happened in your lives as well? Okay, so like we'll save Sierra for last. Yeah, you go first, Ray.
Yeah, I tell people on a regular basis, Black women specifically are the highest educated minority and group, period, in this country. I have so many college hours. I'm one of those. You remember that show Girlfriends?
Yeah.
And the girl that she couldn't figure out what she wanted to do, so she had to get all these different degrees and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of basically how I am. I have majored in so many different. I've gone to different colleges, different groups. I've got college credits out the wazoo based on this. And as soon as I disagree with somebody, or as soon as I just have my Negro moment, as they call it, to be nice, it's always, well, get off of welfare, get a job, do this, do that, stop blaming the world for your problems and this and that. They always assume I'm the bottom of the barrel and then some, because not only am I Black, not only am I Latino, not only am I female, but I'm all that into one, so I can't possibly actually be working, because Mexicans work for less than anything. They're stealing all our jobs and they're working for less. And then Black folks, you're so lazy you don't want to work at all. And then females, well, you're just having babies and popping this out. So I'm basically popping out babies, don't want to work, don't want to do this, don't want to do that. And nobody ever considers the fact that I have college on college on college on college. And it's freaking disgusting. But that's the American way.
Yeah.
So yeah, felt it a bit.
You're right.
Yeah. So my experience is one of the first experiences I had was when I was driving around in the old, like back when I was in my early 20s. My girlfriend's car at the time, like actually like late teens, but anyway, like when I first joined the armed services, the army, and driving my girlfriend's car, and the cop pulled us over on Interstate 95. White guy, he says he like checks, check ID and everything else, and there's 3 black folks in the car. Me, the girlfriend that I had at the time, black woman, and her black woman friend. And I say this so folks can illustrate what this cop is looking at, so to speak, right? You know what I mean? So, so this guy, he sees my military ID and he's like, "Well, you're a soldier?" I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yeah. Ever since Harry S. Truman, integrated the armed services after World War II. Yes, the armed services do have black soldiers in it. That's what I wanted to save my young crazy self. But I was like, yes, I'm a soldier. And it's like, why would you doubt that? Like, I mean, come on now.
Wait, can I ask you a question now?
Yeah.
You said there was 3 black people. Was one of them mixed? One of them Puerto Rican? One of them Dominican?
Nah.
I just wanted to ask because you know how people like to self-segregate.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I want to throw that one in there real quick.
Yeah, everybody was without question black, and he said, "I'm like, excuse me, sir, is there a reason why we were pulled over?" He said somebody called on the phone saying that folks were smoking weed, in a red car and stuff like that. And then I asked the guy a question. Of course. I was like, "But sir," and this is like 2003. I'm like, "But sir, isn't it illegal to use your phone while driving on an interstate?" He didn't answer that question. So for the most part, you have racial profiling in regards to driving while black, and then you have guys bullshitting on his excuse to pull us over in the first place. So he saw 3 black folks. I mean, one part, the thing about a lie is that part of it has to be true. So he probably thought that, hey, 3 black folks in the car, somebody smoking weed, let me bust these motherfuckers. But it's like, holy shit. I mean, and then him on the fact that I'm a soldier, that was pretty funny. I'll never forget that. That's the thing that a lot of these cops don't understand. Like, all your interactions that you do based on racial profiling, you think is just, I mean, to you it's just fucking Tuesday, but for us, it's like it's a catastrophic, traumatizing event in our lives that we'll never forget. And if you keep on doing that, especially to the same people,
it wakes us up in a way that y'all don't want.
Exactly. Thanks for exactly.
Powder keg. Powder keg, waiting to explode.
Yeah. Another example of being a black professional in America, or professionaling while black in America, is my car. I've had I have a Mercedes-Benz 2004 C-Class. I had it ever since 2008. And one thing I noticed is that people tend to disbelieve the fact that I have the car I have. And it's really painful as a black person because it's like you're trapped. You're not allowed to have anything good. You're not allowed to actually earn the stuff that you have, earn these things in life that you want to have. Now, I'm not a guy that wants to be super showy. It's nothing but it's an entry-level Mercedes-Benz and all, but I find it really funny on how some people disbelieve the fact that I have the car that I have. Like, like coming up in DC, people really do believe that the drug dealers have the bum cars, because they usually did. Like, people who are in the game, they have some bum ass cars, like the low level drug dealers. But once I have a really good car, a really nice car, now I'm a high level drug dealer. You see what I'm saying? It's like, where's the escape? I mean, I never dealt drugs before. Why automatically assume that I have to be selling something to have to be engaging in illegal activity in order to have the things that I have? It's categorically absurd.
Part of white privilege that white people completely miss. Like, white people, statistically speaking, they sell more drugs than non-white people. And
do more drugs.
people exactly. But whenever black people and brown people have something and they go and buy a nice car, something like that, or they get a good job and they have a good job, and then they're like, I have a friend, Marilyn, Facebook. But she was talking about this earlier. She's like, this is a part of white privilege. When a black person is and they're flipping houses and they come up on some really good deals and they're flipping and doing their thing and making a lot of money, the first thing that people think, he can't be possibly working this hard. He has to be selling drugs. He has to be selling crack. He has to be selling something.
Right.
And that's one thing that people don't understand. Like, it is a privilege to be white, because if that happens, then people are going to be like, well, Billy, he must be just doing what Billy does. And then whenever it's Tyrone, it's like, Tyrone must be doing what Tyrone does. He must be selling drugs. And that's one of those things. You cannot be trusted as a black, brown, male, or female to not be doing something illegal to come up in this world. Because it's not made for you to do so. Unless you're famous, you're an artist or an athlete or an actor or something like that, one of them a-holes.
Right.
Yeah, you know what that reminds me of? In 2013, there was this black kid, like, young black male, who in a New York area, he saved all his money to buy this designer belt from Barney's, and
I remember
he paid for this belt with his own hard-earned cash. And what they did was racially profiled him and called the cops as if, this is a black kid with money. This guy has to be, this has to be fake.
Yeah.
This guy, he has to, this guy must be a drug dealer or something like that. And it's very painful that it's like you're trapped. You cannot have anything good. You're not even allowed to earn the money that's in your pocket.
It's because
you're not even allowed to earn the money.
Our neighborhoods with dope, with the hope of us actually just doing, our men having nothing more to spend. So that's the first thing. Well, obviously, this we already said. And I tell people that being, I grew up in a brown community and a black community, and with a black parent and a brown parent. And I knew for a fact that every person, all the men on the brown side, they have all been to jail over drugs or some kind of assault or something silly or simple that a lot of people would not have gone to jail for. And it's because they're set up and they're targeted to do so.
Right.
And I think a lot of people overlook that. And it's one of those things that people overlook because they're too busy trying to point the blame at the victim and victim shame. You're automatically, as a black or brown male, a drug dealer or a rapist or something violent, something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And it's because you're targeted.
Yeah. Also, I think this was in 2013, but Oprah Winfrey, she was in Switzerland and she was trying to buy a handbag from another designer store, and they profiled her to the point where she couldn't buy the goddamn bag. Now, so the person's black, you have a problem with that, I suppose. Like I don't understand it, but I know that you're stupid. So you have a problem with someone being black, but they have the means and the money to buy what looks like, I'm researching this as I speak, a $38,000 handbag. Why don't you let her buy the fucking bag? I mean, this racism is hurting your business. This racism is hurting your business, buddy.
Buy it, and then if there's an issue, ask afterwards, because that's what insurance is.
Yeah, and it's like this article here says,
at the end of the day, nobody asked where the money came from.
Nope.
Like here it says in this article, it does make you wonder though, can you ever be rich enough or famous enough or beautiful enough to not be racially profiled while shopping? No, you can't. You just can't. You can't have the car that I have. You can't be Oprah fucking with. I mean, it's like President Obama going to fucking New Zealand and he's buying something big, and they're like, hey, we're gonna profile the fuck out of this nigga. Get the fuck out.
There's always going to be people everywhere that don't know you, and that's where the privilege comes in, and that's where people realize Black, brown folks, people of color, anywhere we go, we have to actually research ahead of time to see where we're going and if it's safe for us, and where we're moving and if it's safe for us and things like that. Because it doesn't matter how rich you are. You can be Kobe, you can be anybody. You can be Oprah, you can be Jordan, you can be all these Obamas and Michelles and all these people. But the fact of the matter is, if somebody does not know who you are, you're still going to be a nigger. Period. And it's scary.
Look at all these.
It doesn't matter. They're going to act before they think.
I look at all these lists and things that you mentioned a good point, like research things. So every once in a while, I'll see a list that's like towns to live in America, and I'm like, for who? Because I'm not going to those damn towns. They need to just straight up say the best small towns for non-Black people, anybody of color, because it can't be a comfortable experience. Hang a nigga Mississippi. I don't care how fucking beautiful it is. I'm not gonna live there.
Place. No Mississippi, no Milwaukee and Wisconsin. There's certain places that you just are not allowed to go as people of color and expect to actually live a good life.
I mean, when I moved down to my mom's military, so we were living in Bayside, New York, and then we left New York and went to Greenville, South Carolina. And I just always remember thinking, how come these fucking people are so hype about every time a Black person drives a Lexus? Because my family's and I mean, I would see people with nice cars. Okay, they had good government jobs, and I mean, they worked their way up, and people got their government jobs, they kind of stayed in government all their lives, and they had, nice things. And people were so fucking surprised by that in South Carolina, and I was like, why? Like, this person has a job, and they would make such a big fucking deal. And it wasn't just the white people, it was Black people too. So I mean, we hype people up when they have these things, and I'm like, it's just the thing. So I try to remain as modest as possible, just because I don't care. I mean, I will always drive what I call my luxury Honda, because I don't give a shit. Features and shit that I need are inside that vehicle. I don't need it to say a certain name brand on the outside. And it's not so much because I don't want to draw attention, but I don't want to draw attention because I know what people think. I know what people say. Just like, having a Mercedes, people start to say shit about that. And I'm like,
yeah,
you have to.
I don't want it.
East side, and you have to look out on the hood side. You have to look out for your own people, look out for those people who don't like our.
Yeah, because them coons are out there, and while we did a podcast on them quite some time ago, due to the fact of how rampant these folks are running, these Tanuki suits are running, we are forced to talk about these coons one more time, especially Trump supporters, but that is another Black Trump supporters, but that is definitely something that we're going to have in the near future. Mm-hmm. That's a sequel to this one here.
I want to explore more this professionalism thing, and how that's kind of come up a lot lately, where people just don't believe that you have these professional capabilities. I know, and I think maybe some of your listeners is white. His mother obviously is white. His father's white. He's white. And I just remember the first time I met her, dressed nice and everything, use my good King's English. I was on point. I was really, picture perfect. Didn't fucking matter. I don't care what I did. They cracked about where I went to, cracked about what kind of job I had. Now, for all intents and purposes, my job paid my bills. I didn't depend on anybody else. But it was brought into question. So after that, I kind of just said, I had a Negro moment. I said, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck them. Fuck it all. Because I saw that it did, but I did. I saw it didn't matter like how much of these respectability politics I played into. I was still a nigga, and I was always gonna be a nigga, and that was gonna be that. So I let it go, and that's the way I feel with Tierra, and I'm gonna do what I want to do. You know, I used to try and dress all up and everything because, like, my coworker, she comes in looking, you know, rather homeless every day, shabby white woman. But it doesn't matter. I was, you know, dressed to the nines. They still treat me like whatever. So now I will wear fucking sweatpants if I choose to, because I still have the same professional abilities as this chick who looks homeless. That's that.
Yeah. Another experience I have concerning being professional while black in America was, you know, no surprise, the Tucson Trump event in 2016. You know, for those who don't know, I was there for that whole thing, and the black guy who was where he had his Tanuki suit zipped and zip tight that day. He attacked that protester and stuff. I sat beside that dude for like 2 hours, getting to know Tony Petway, God bless his heart or something. But anyway, I was in a Tucson Trump event, and I came across a lot of this interesting form of racism, which is what I'll call sweet racism. And sweet racism comes from sweet old racist folks. It was always a sweet old racist lady, sweet old racist white lady. She'll say something like, I'm like, I'm voting for Trump because if he gets in power, if he becomes president, you know, boys like you will be able to get jobs. And I'm like, okay, for folks to have a proper understanding, no. For folks to have a proper understanding, what's it like what's going on? I was at the Trump event as a photographer, and I have over $4,000 of photography equipment on my back and on my neck at the whole time I was there. So, and I have my button-up shirt and tie, looking all professional. You know, I look like credential media, if anything. So, anyone's logical guess would be this guy's a professional photographer. That was not her guess. Her guess was, I'm a black man without a job, and we need to vote for Trump because he's gonna get rid of the Mexicans. Because now, when you get rid of Mexicans, boys like me can get jobs. So, even though I look professional, I sound professional, and I have professional looking gear, and I function with this gear with precision, with professional precision, you know, while I was there, it didn't matter. All that woman saw was a black dude, and she engaged in this what we call this the formal word of it was this parental form of racism, where those poor niggers, we need to take care of them. That type of racism, like, by way
white
of
savior.
Well, yeah. By way of being more racist towards Mexicans, you know, and it's like this divide and conquer shit. I mean, come on now. It's not, bitch, you're talking to Johnny Silvercloud. But I couldn't say that. She was just so fucking ignorant, and
I would have got beat up at a Trump rally.
Yeah, it wouldn't have brought you there.
I'm black, I'm Mexican, I'm female.
Yeah, like, you know, I was there undercover.
And I would have been smiling the whole time.
Yeah, I was there undercover. I mean, I'm a black man in a Trump rally who don't agree with Trump. That's a very dangerous position to be. I'm like walking into the belly of the beast, and that's how I describe it. And and I wrote about that experience full-heartedly.
The Trump rallies, he's the overt racist that is just talking. And I tell people this all the time. Whenever I try to compare one to the other with Clinton, Trump is basically rap music, which is saying fuck these hoes, fuck these bitches, kill these niggas, fuck these hoes, all this bullshit. And then Hillary Clinton is that black on black crime that's actually doing the dirt. Like, we're literally fucked in
Bingo.
This. We're fucked. Like, hardcore.
Yeah.
Fucked. Like, if you check out her deals with Haiti, and then her husband's deals with the 3-strike rule and the mandatory minimum sentencing and all this stuff, we're fucked. Because you're thinking, well, it's either take on this female that talks a good game or take a guy that talks bullshit, but could potentially just take us into the Civil War. And it's like, well, I'd rather go to the Civil War than sit here with some more bullshit.
Well, the Civil War may happen even when he loses, because white folks don't lose. White folks don't lose that well. Whiteness don't lose that well. You know,
do it good.
Last time whiteness lost. You know, Abraham Lincoln was not a true abolitionist. Abraham Lincoln Abraham Lincoln didn't like. Abraham Lincoln was not friendly to slavery, but he never made a mention. He never made a mention of actually freeing slaves. But the fear of a president who didn't like slavery wasn't more than enough for an entire half of the United States to wage war to uphold white supremacy. Yeah. So if you have this, you have that, someone who thinks that this guy's going to free slaves, because he never really cared. He never cared to do that. The war actually forced his hand. You know, he never really cared to free slaves, but since they feared that shit, they waged war to protect it. So, if they commit the war because of that, they can definitely do it again, and it's definitely coming. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is go to my gun shop, Cat, tomorrow especially, and buy more bullets and keep on buying more bullets because it's I gotta kill as many racists as possible. I mean, I will die, but I will not die in a flash in the pan of like, oh, now you got me and now I'm hung. No, it's going to be like tons and tons of folks putting in work before you get to me.
Yeah, same here.
Like the meat of my hand will be sore from the shells flying from my fucking 45 before that ever happens. I'm taking a whole lot of them damns with me. Anyway, back to Tamika Cross and stuff. It's like being what a segue. Anyway, back to Tamika Cross. It's really frustrating just being black in America, and people don't think that you have the skills you have. Matter of fact, Tiara, did you talk about your experiences with this yet? Like, truly?
Well, I was just mentioning why I don't give a fuck anymore, but really, truly, so I work in sales. Sales is a white boy's game. So
marketing.
Background on, well, no, not in marketing, I'm in sales. So sales is basically for the C student that comes out of college, has had a little bit of retail experience, got the gab, and likes to have a good time. That's who your salesperson is. Now, can they be more sophisticated, and can they grow, and can they mature? They sure can. But for the most part, this is who you're dealing with, and they're young, and they're white, and they're always right. So the women sleep their way to the top, and the guys go out drinking and partying, whatever. Well, obviously, I'm not doing any of that. I mean, I always like to have a good time. I would always hit the happy hour, but don't talk disrespectfully to me. Don't try and grab anything, and just be cool. Don't drink too much and get all racial, and I'll fuck you up. So I never really played that game too well. And when I found that that's how that game was being played, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. All I got is my numbers, because in sales, you're just as good as your last numbers. Well, then you become antisocial. Then you become not part of the company culture. And nobody ever turns to these guys and says, well, why don't you embrace her? It's always, why don't you embrace them? Why don't you, be more like them? But I'd have to basically sell out. So it's one of those things like, okay. And then, like I said, your numbers kind of stand for you in sales. Like that's all you have. But even with plain black and white numbers, it's always like this doubt. Like, well, let me listen to your phone calls. Let me hear you talk to so-and-so customer. Why? Like, what the fuck do you think I'm telling them? Well, why do all the black customers seem to resonate with you? Because I talk to them like they're fucking people, and I don't try and talk above and around them and through them and shit. Like, you talk to them, I hate you. Like, that's my shtick. That's what I'm going for. But, of course, they always had questions. But that's just something I've dealt with. That's something I'm going to probably always deal with in sales, just because of the nature of who typically succeeds in sales. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Tiara, I mean, Ray, you have anything to like add to that one right there? What's your thoughts?
That's kind of with her issue and mine and a lot of ours, it's where there's a thin line between racism and sexism, and it kind of works, and then it differentiates. So it's one of those things to where she can't win for losing because of her race and because of her sex, and then they're always going to say, don't make it a race thing, don't make it a sex thing, don't make it a this thing, don't make it a that thing. Just make sure you follow this white male standard, and it's screwed up.
And I don't know if you've noticed this, but something I've noticed, like Black men will always be cool at work. Like they're always thought of as the cool ones, like because white guys basically want to be like the Black guys, so they don't have any issue with them. And Black guys are like, well, I don't see any racism here. And I'm like, well, fucking course you don't, because they want to be just like you. Like fuck, like they want to be your homie.
They want to emulate you with your blackness.
Right, but that's just the Black males because
white men.
Right.
And white men want to emulate each other.
Right. So that they get along, like they're cool. But being a Black woman, you have the white women who are intimidated by you, whatever the fuck that means. And then the white men just don't think of you as anything. I mean, either whatever, like they just don't respect you. And when they do talk to you, they're talking down to you.
Yeah, talking at you versus talking to you. Or talking with you. Yeah. You're
an object, you're just a figment of their imagination, you're just temporary, you're just here for now, and you're nothing to actually consider.
Yeah. I can only imagine going to law school and everything else, and because I have an affinity for, always had an affinity for medical arts. And I'm not squeamish around dead bodies or bleeding bodies, dying bodies. I'm not. And, you know, I always want to be a medic. You know, that could have happened, could have been a doctor. And with that being said, I can only imagine what it feels like actually going through 8 to 12 years of school. And then someone is like, no, you're not a doctor. I'm 35 years old right now. So technically, if I would have went the doctor route out of high school, I'll be a doctor right now. The salt and pepper beard I have and everything else. And someone will sit there and doubt what I am. Despite the fact that you know, in this alternate reality, I'm a man who have dedicated my life to saving lives. That's mind blowing. And not only that, but that's not what freedom looks like. That's not what freedom feels like. Like people may see how I dress on the AfroSapiophile podcast when you check the YouTubes out, which will be featured on on Ray Rivera's page. You know, more than mine. You know, she's stuff pretty built up. So anyway, you see me here. You probably see me wearing a button up and a tie, or you know, a shirt, shema, and hat. You know, when I wear the shema and hat, you're like thinking, oh well, you know, random thug, whatever else. But why? These articles of clothing should be neutral concepts. You know, not only that, but I'm quite sure I'd be called a thug anyway if I was wearing my suit and tie and Kango.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta stop giving a fuck.
You actually call y'all white folks call Colin Kaepernick a thug, and he not only is he a well college educated man, but he's also a professional with a literal job that you're able to see on ESPN. So I mean, if this guy's a thug, if President Obama is a thug to you, which is your code word for nigger, you know, then what escape do we have? We can't be president of the United States because you're not going to sit there and respect that level of office, that level of professionalism. You're going to doubt if we became president, you're going to doubt where we came from. You're going to doubt our credentials, despite the fact you don't doubt Donald Trump's. But another story. I'm not going to dive into that.
Wow.
But
yeah, he could rape women, children, his own daughters, all kinds of stuff.
So, hey, get it in. What you got, Ray? What you
But
got,
I
Ray?
guess my issue is always being, excuse me, told to lift yourself up by your bootstraps. But they forget that second part is don't lift yourself too damn high, because if you get above me, it's gonna be a problem. So
Yeah, Black Wall Street is a great illustration of that, and that's something that's in American history that they wish to erase, but we will not allow them to erase that. So yeah, Black Wall Street is a brilliant example of black people shining, and white folks can't take it, and they're butthurt. They're like, oh man, this makes me feel like my dick is tiny, and I'm gonna kill all these black folks.
Go away and get out of their communities, so that's what the fuck they did. They got away from them. They were like, okay, you don't want to treat us like humans, we will go and build our own. So whereas I think talking about economic empowerment, having your own, that all sounds really good, but then look at who's going to try and tear it down. And so I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying don't do it. Right. I mean, it also takes the means to do it, but I'm not saying don't empower yourself economically and have your own and build your own businesses. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is don't think that's the end all be all, because you see Black Wall Street, you see that shit didn't work for them. So you got to have a lot more systems in place than, well, I got my own business. That's not everything.
It's been almost 100 years, though. Do you think that if we went to Detroit, a run-down-ass place, do you think if we went there and we self-segregated, we could actually do what we did then and not be bombed as a result of it?
I just...
They don't even have to bomb us now. All they do is over-police us.
That's all it would take. They would put so many regulations and red tape.
Yeah, overtax. I mean, okay, when I look at, say, rap music, for example, I believe that if white folks invented rap music, there will be less penalties, if not no penalties, in regards to sampling prior music in order to make rap music beats. I think that like a lot of laws are levied and created because black folks invented or did something innovative, and it's like, no, that nigga can't. No, we need to make more money out of this or criminalize this activity. And when a black person do it, that's what they do. And white person do it, everything's okay. One crazy example of this is the wear and appearance of dreadlocks. A white person wearing dreadlocks is like, oh, this is edgy and new age and all this other good stuff. Let's anglicize this, but we'll demonize actual black people with dreadlocks and stuff.
You know what they call white people dreadlocks?
These nuts.
Hipsters.
Fairy tails. They're fairy locks.
Oh, fairy tails. I like that one. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. That's why I said if you put them in a ponytail, is it fairy tails? They're called fairies when their shit's added up. And then with black folks, it's dread fairy.
Wow. I mean, damn.
It's like cake, angel cake.
Yeah. Devil's cake. Which is really funny because vanilla is actually a very dark substance like coffee, like chocolate. Mm-hmm. There's very few things that's based off of beans that's fucking white. No.
Well, the original thug and the violence and the rapists and all this other stuff. Not black thing.
Yeah, an offshoot of the professional while black thing is that, like, the double standard, at least, is that, like, say, one of the things I observed when I was, in my 20s, I observed, like, going to clubs and bars, with mixed company back when I had, like, nothing but white friends to go out with, stuff like that, and, military. And one of the things I noticed is that the black guy, which was me and any other black person in this given said club, we have to look really sharp. Meanwhile, the white guy can wear whatever the fuck he can wear his gym gear that he's got finished sweating in and shit.
You can't get
to a club or bar and get more pussy, if not more pussy. Get pussy if not more than the given black guy. And it's like, how come a white person can wear whatever? And you can see this in our hats. You know, the black guy will typically have, in regards to blackness as is, you have a super fresh hat that looks like it's really new. It looks so new that there's no dust on it, to the point where it even has the stickers on it, has the pre-existing sell-by dates and stickers on it and tags and stuff like that. This hat this black guy's wearing is fresh to death, as they say it on the East Coast. Now the white dude, he's gonna have a really crusty curled up hat. The hat's gonna be super curled up in front. He may have beer bottle caps on the edges. He took like a saw or a knife and kind of like messed the edges. He took the rill of the hat and rubbed it across brick to make it look more dirty and rusty and crusted and stuff like that. And that makes he'll get laid. You know, the white guy is a deodorant man. He's looking to not stink. The black guy is a man he's a cologne man. He's looking to smell good. So how does a guy who seeks not to stink? He's on par with the person who seeks to smell good. You know, like it's like this person who's trying not to suck, and you got this person who tries to be great. The person who's like at the bare minimum, he's on the same par as the person who seeks to achieve greatness. Why is that?
Flip those two.
You say what?
I would flip those two. I would say the white person is the cologne, and then the black man is the deodorant, because the black man is trying to just calm down the stank that other people put on him, and then the white man put this.
That's interesting.
On
but like, you know, when it comes to like when I teach people this is like I call it having an offensive mindset. You know, one person is trying not to suck while the other one is trying to be great, and it's better to try to be great.
Yeah, but one person is trying to downplay what other people say, and the other person is trying to cover it all up altogether.
But the thing is, though, is that
like Europeans
the person who
all the stuff you do.
If you use cologne without washing up, yeah, you're just covering up. But my standpoint is the person who wears cologne is already washed up and also using deodorant. You know, so it's a person who achieves the bare minimum to not. It's almost like a person in the military, a person who only gets the bare minimum to like not fail a PT test, or bare minimum to not get fired, versus a person who goes over above and to achieve. That's a person who's looking to look good to improve the life around him. That's the take in regards to cologne versus, you know, deodorant guy, because the cologne dude wears deodorant. You know, he just doesn't stop there. He's not just trying to not stink.
He goes the
trying to
extra
smell
mile.
good. Yeah, that's my point.
You're trying to cover up and do all these other kind of things to make sure people don't see and smell what you are. And then the deodorant guy is just trying to downplay the shit that other people see and smell.
Yeah, yeah.
So, in thinking about that, you know what I've noticed? Get into hella fucking debt trying to look a certain way so we are not judged. I mean, and it goes way, way, way back. I mean, we would always, you know, back in the days of slavery and things like that, or just, you know, fresh out of slavery, you didn't have much, but you always try to look your best when going to see company, or, you know, company was coming over, you know, you were going to be out of the presence of just your family. So looking at that today and what that's kind of manifested itself into, we're getting to a whole lot of fucking debt and like spending.
Well, we're in debt before we ever get.
Look how white folks go to church.
But you know,
I look at.
Well, right, because I went to a white church, and let me tell you, I
wore
jeans,
t-shirts,
and they were like, "Well, come as you are. Jesus knows," and I'm like, "Oh," but black folks are always like, "Give God your best," and I'm like, "Okay, I get that mentality too," but the money we spend to try to keep up and to try to, you know, just do better than the last person, I'm like, why do we do that? Like, I think about the kid who took his money to go into Barney's to buy that belt, and I'm thinking, all I could think at the time was, fuck you going to Barney's to buy a belt? Well, not sure, you have that right. You do have that right, and nobody should stop you from buying that belt. If you purchase that legally. You know, it's your money and your money's green. You should be able to buy whatever the fuck you want. But in my mind, I'm like, if you had to save up to buy a fucking belt, are you serious? And I guess that's just not where my value lies. Like, I mean, I get hyped at the Gap. Like, that's about it. Not doing that.
Same here.
Yeah, there is a problem with black folks. We as a community looking to, I mean, I think it comes from the notion that if we are we have to wear our wealth to show that we're not dusty crusty. Meanwhile, no one assumes the white dude's dusty crusty, even when they are. You know, even when they are. So that's why, the dude bro Billy, dude bro Billy, he can sit there and go to a club or a bar dressed as is like a bum. Meanwhile, the black dude actually has to like crease his pants and actually has to like look fresh to death and then show up with cologne and then show up. And honestly, a lot of people like this. A lot of people are feeling this. But I do prefer to go the extra mile and look good, but I don't, we do have to critique society in regards to why people have to go over the top, to include, like, say, wearing chains, wearing jewelry, and to the point of like, oh, this person's a rapper. Okay, yeah, we got it. Like, this guy's good. He's good to go. But that's not what true freedom is. Because if you look at it, this guy's still wearing chains. You feel me? So true freedom would be that I can act the way I want, I can dress however I want, and not judge for it as black folks are. And it's like white folks. Yeah, if you're listening to this podcast, you have no idea how good you got it. You're sitting up in here thinking that America's being taken from you. You still own this shit. Get the fuck out of here. You still own this shit. Your dick is all up in Liberty's ass, without consent. You still rape liberty and freedom every day without consent. Rape freedom and liberty every day. You think that America's not yours? You own all this stuff. You own all this shit. Liberty, freedom is a slave to white people. It's insane that they think that they don't, like, they're losing ground or whatever else, because all this shit is still a white privilege flex. And then kiss my ass. All of them. I'm getting mad. Yes. Mwah, kiss my ass. Fuck y'all.
No, I mean, I get it. But I mean, you know what? I really wish that I could reach out to all the black youth. I mean, hell, not even just youth, people my own damn age, and say, you don't have to do this. Or the more money you spend, the more foolish you look, because you still a nigga. They don't care. Like,
it's not even that, but what's your address though? Like, where are you living?
Right.
No, like what I'm concerned with is the folks who actually are functionally cooning. And it's like, look, dude, you're still black. You're still black. Like black cops. Black cops, when they perpetrate against people, they're more likely to get convicted and put in prison than a white cop. As a matter of fact, there was this one Asian dude, I think it was in Texas, who thought he had white privilege because he was light enough, and he was raping motherfuckers left and right. And he thought he was gonna get away with it. Nah, dude, they're you're hot claw. Like, nah, dude, you're not white. They're gonna let you know you're not white too, nigga. Now you're done ass up in jail, thinking that you had a white down that you're white.
Was he from?
It was, I don't know, but it took place in Texas.
Okay, because California hates Asians. Like, California has the highest rate of Asians on the death penalty, because California is where the Asians, the Mexicans, they just don't deal with.
Yeah, it's right by the east. So
it was Oklahoma. Daniel Holtzclaw was in Oklahoma.
Okay, so Texas hat, the hat, Texas.
So there's area.
Love Oklahoma. Fuck, I love Oklahoma. Anyway.
I know all my family in Oklahoma, they're Republicans, and they're like white power, and they're not white. So.
Oh Lord.
Wow, that's deeply problematic.
That doesn't work out well.
I get those Christmas letters every year with pictures next to Sarah Palin and Bush.
I put return to sender. I'm sorry. I can't. I wish the hell somebody would.
You know what?
You're good.
Bush. I mean, if you had a choice between Trump and Bush, though, I'd choose Bush. I'll choose the fool. Like, you know, Bush wasn't.
I went to war under Bush. I'd choose Bush.
Yeah, me too. Like Bush was a fool. He was not exactly a blatant racist.
I'd choose Bush.
Yeah, every time I look at that damn video
over Clinton.
Every time I look at that damn video of Bush singing at whose funeral was that? It was, I don't know if it was like a fallen police officer or what, but he was singing the Battle Hymn of the Republic, and he was just shimmying and shaking, and I was like,
yeah, it's like
he was fucking retarded. It's
like this guy is a comedian or something like that. Like
that's what they do.
If you really
did, 5-year-old.
I picture if you meet Bush, he's a frat boy, but not like the harmful toxic masculinity frat boy. He's the guy who's a total fucking fool. I think that Bush could have been.
He could have been so much fun.
He probably could have been a stand-up comedian or something like that in a different life.
Yeah,
he looks like a whole lot of fun.
I think I would fucking party with him. I'd be like, yo, he's got all the fucking beer, and he's not charging you shit when you walk. When you walk in the door, he just wants you to have a good time, and whatever beer you need to do that, he's fucking got it. That's
beer,
him.
You mean cocaine?
Well, I do believe he was into the booger sugar. Yes.
He was. He is.
Look at that nose. That nose could scoop a whole
He's
lot.
probably Trump's dope man right now.
Oh my God!
It's probably Ben Carson got him on some opiates.
No, we can't blame
he got Ben Carson.
Can't blame him.
When you cross a certain line, you're white. Cross a certain line, you're white. You're not black.
Once upon a time, I was doing this mentoring program, and I took my mentee to see Ben Carson in Baltimore, and it was such a proud moment. Now I really want to call her back and be like, scratch that. Just kidding. Just let that shit go. I know he's got some gifted hands, but I want to throw these hands at him. I do, because he's ridiculous.
Yeah, those gifted hands are really good at massaging the phallus of white supremacy because, good Lord Almighty, I mean, he must have a gifted mouth. He must have a gifted mouth because he stayed.
Well, I say, they didn't even use his hands; they went straight to his mouth. They were like, "What that mouth do?" So yeah, they didn't catch them hands. So
yeah, man.
I mean, but you know what? I think he's even gonna have a wake up moment, like a nigga moment, where he's going to have to be reminded he is indeed still black. Yeah. He's going to get just like Don Lemon. So, I wait for those moments, and I hate that he hasn't had one yet because I'm like, how are you as old as you are and you ain't had a moment? You must have ignored that moment and thought it was something else because I'm 33.
He doesn't even know dinosaurs.
I know that moment has happened about when I was like 13, 14. So, like, I know he caught it.
Yeah, but the thing about black folks like that is that they ignore it. They blame themselves or they blame the environment versus actually like
he made excuses.
White people
he made excuses. He was just like, it's that, it's this, it's everything else, it's not that, and
well,
whatever.
Damn, you know what? I was sagging my pants. You know what? I was wearing a hoodie. You know what? Right. I did use slang. You know what? Right. It's like, stop making these excuses, dude. No one's gonna respect you. I mean, they pretend to respect you when you are cooning. When you are caping for white supremacy. When you become a pet of white supremacy, they don't respect you at all. It's counterfeit respect.
They use you as a token, and every time you come across some kind of issue that they don't deal with, they just put you in that.
There's gonna be a wake up call one day, and what you gonna do? He's gonna deserve every bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. For those
you're not like other black girls.
Who thinks that I'm
you're
the good guy,
prettier for a black girl.
Please don't think I'm the good guy.
Let me put this in this wishing well.
Yeah, that's why I stopped dealing with people like that. I can't do it.
So they're like, I'm not racist.
Black guy.
Check out my friend here.
Right.
My token.
I've put on my Facebook page several times, if I am your token black friend, no, I'm not. I will act a pure fucking ass, because all those friends that I grew up with in South Carolina, like I had a friend who we were close. I mean, she was at my wedding and everything. I surprised her at her baby shower. I came back down for the baby's first birthday. Like, we were very, very close until all this stuff started happening where black men were being murdered in the streets, and she didn't say anything. So I was like, all right, well, she's not gonna say nothing. But then it was like Blue Lives Matter, this, that, and the fourth, and I was like, skirt, bitch, what? Because I thought you just weren't gonna say anything because you didn't want to get political on Facebook, but you have all these balls to say Blue Lives Matter. So that's when I was done with her.
The fuck's a blue light?
I said, and that's like, I didn't even want to take the time to explain it, because I'm like, we talked about this in person. You have the nerve to post that on your fucking page. You can post what you want to, but you also don't have to be friends with me. So I got rid of her. I blocked her. I blocked her mama. I blocked her 2 sisters. I blocked her husband. I blocked every fucking body that I thought that knew her, that might, be passing messages and shit. And I'm a better person for it.
Yep.
I don't have to deal with that.
Ray, you remember when where I threw away that my old homeboy Ben Heinrich?
That was good.
You was in for that too?
I saw it on the on your page, and then like he reported to Facebook or some shit, but not before we all read that shit. That shit was good.
Yeah, okay, y'all both was there for that one. Yeah, because it's like Rachel, she looked at his page and was like, this dude is racist as fuck, It's like,
yeah. I don't know how you have friends like that around.
Army, like Army experience shit. Like, not only that, but it's like when you're like together, they don't really see what's what, because you don't really get a chance to talk about your fears and experiences.
The military experience is so mixed.
But when you leave service, which he did as well,
and you go back,
and he's back in like Tallahassee, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia area with nothing around white folks and shit. He apparently reverted back to his Fox News, his fuck news, Tommy Lauren listening to, bitch ass shit. And me, of course, I'm like, always been the scientific dude. I'm like, this is unjust. Like, you are the unjust, you are the just, or we are the just, and I'm going to continue fighting this shit until I die, or we win, or which comes first.
We win, we lose, we draw.
I'm totally okay with that. I'll probably die first. I'm totally okay with that. But the thing is, though, is that this dude kept on throwing all this shit, like, Black Lives Matter is all criminal, and all these guys are thugs, and Blue Lives Matter, this, Blue Lives. I'm like,
that's the thing they don't understand.
We were so close. Like, this dude rapped on the beats I made back when I was a beat maker.
Because he was interested in you because you're a black male, and black men are cool to white men. Therefore, you were cool with him. Had it been the same situation, and I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and somebody can, if it were a black woman and a white woman, I don't think it would have gone down the same way. Unless she was going to coon for this white woman, they would not have had the same relationship that you and old dude had, because white women are intimidated by black women. So I think your experience is different. Being
white women hate black women.
They can't stand us. They're like, why do you have so much confidence? They're like, why do you have so much confidence that you shouldn't be?
There's some white women that are not like that. They're like super friendly to black women to the point at which they think that they can supplant, they can replace black women, and to the point where they think that they know black women more than black men do. So, like, I mean, there's some white chicks like that.
Back up.
And
don't be petty.
No, I'm not being petty.
It's not even.
No, but it's true. Like, there's some white chicks out there who are all up in black circles, especially black women circles. And they want to get past
about the Kardashians?
That's an example right there. That's a great example right there.
They
Kardashians, and they want to replace. They like, if you're not paying attention, they're seeking to replace black women look how big my butt is, you know, and this is a consistent thing with all these white chicks that attempt to do that. Like, I'm thick, you black, you like
the
thick
thing they don't
chicks.
understand is you can have these lip injections, these butt implants, and all this other stuff, but it's never going to put in your mind anything that correlates with being able to understand what black men go through as black
or
men.
as a black man. It's almost like masturbation. It's not as good as the real thing.
Exactly.
Well,
I mean, you got counterfeit.
but you know what?
It's like imitation crab meat. Not as good as the real thing. There we go. It's a little more neutral.
A friend of mine posted this meme that was it was very interesting. He said it was it Paula Patton and Robin Thicke, and they were like, everybody high fives her, but then it was somebody else, somebody I just didn't recognize. It was like a black man and a white woman. They were like, everybody hates
Tay Diggs with his whatever.
I don't remember who it was.
Features.
Right,
look at her skin tone,
and I didn't think it was.
She's
I
more
didn't
white.
think it was right. She's very European looking, so I was like, she's basically just got a tan. But so I didn't think that was a great example, but it is true that black women are high five like shit for dating white men. I swear, because
but black men,
they are hated. They are vilified.
Yeah, like the Luke Cage actor, Mike Coulter. That's another
right.
Like we mentioned that on the podcast that passed by. For those who are listening to this, be sure to check out the hashtag Black Oscars show found on AfroSapiophile podcast network. But yeah,
his wife worked for Netflix and everything, and she most likely got him on, and everybody's like, "Fuck that shit. She's white. Fuck her." And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I like your demeanor with it, Ray, because you still admire the guy regardless. Like you're far more mature with it. Like you prefer black with black, but you're not a person who demonizes or seek to execrate those who engage in interracial relationships and stuff like that.
But people swear
it matters. It matters. I mean, based on you can correct me if I'm wrong. It matters what one does when they are in that relationship, or their motives for doing such.
Yeah.
Way.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I tell people all the time. Me as a product of I don't say interracial, but more intercultural. Knowing that the Mexicans and then the Africans in America, they all went through the same thing, but one was stolen and brought to the land, and one's lands was stolen, and whatever the case. But as someone in an interracial, intercultural product of that, so then people just being onlookers, the damage that it could cause. So I speak more of a logical perspective.
Sure.
And people see that as hatred, and it's the same thing as me being like, well, there's no proof of the gods here. There's proof of this here. Well, you must hate God. Well, you must hate interracial procreate. You must hate white people.
People love simplifying thoughts. People can't, right. They love to simplify it to just hate. And I'm like, if you explored past the word hate and really tried to understand, you would learn something. Like you would get something. But people think in this damn Tyler Perry, dichotomy, like either you're this or you're that, and there is no gray area. And I'm like, not everything's a fucking Medea movie. Like, you gotta open up. You gotta open it up.
Like with women, you're either a feminazi or you're a doormat. There's no in between. And I'm sitting here in the middle, like, well, we all meet in the middle. And sometimes I cook, sometimes he cleans, sometimes I do this, sometimes he does this. But people don't see that.
Nope.
They're so left field, right field, and it's disgusting.
I learned about in regards to that, I learned about feminism versus womanism, and that's what Sable Manaba, which is another part of the AfroSapiophile collective, she kind of cued me on, and is like, looking at Ray Rivera, and y'all womanists, not exactly feminists, and not to give feminists a bad rap, but it seems like for the women who invented these terms, these classifications, it seems like the womanists, they embrace all that as woman, while the feminists seems to like they wish to subtract things that are associated with women that they don't like. Like say how one relates to a man or how one takes care of a man. They're like, you're not a good feminist because you talk all about how you're married and how you take care of a man and you don't need to take care of a man to be a whole and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, I get it. But, if you look at, despite the fact, patriarchy and male privilege is a thing, it really is, and it's problematic. But like, hold on real quick. One part of a man's identity is actually taking care of women. If a man does not take care of women properly, he's less than a man. So shouldn't the same also prove true to a woman? If you don't know how to take care of a man or say take care of family, shouldn't be considered less of a woman? And
I consider them less. I sure do.
I think that like a lot of feminists, they're trying to fight against this versus and the womanist types. They're like, we need to be holistic. I understand equal pay. I understand, equal opportunity. I understand respect and respectability, things like that. But, we do need men and shit. And I look at it and stuff like that. These black feminists or whatnot, they're like, tons of them are gay. Not to subtract from the gay community because we bank heavily off of them, but especially with the Black Lives Matter folks and whatnot. But when you use this, when you use homosexuality to replace men versus actually just loving, or whatever else, it becomes problematic. It's almost like, do you drink for chill mode, or you have an alcohol problem? Or you're replacing something else that you need to have in your life. You're trying to fill this empty hole in your heart. You do that, you're going to be an alcoholic. So it's like that. There's things you have moderation for the right reasons versus the wrong reasons. And if you're trying to replace specific folks, it's for the wrong reasons. Because if a black man did this, which many black men do, they're wrong. Actually, I haven't really met a black dude that's like really trying to replace women by being gay and stuff. I haven't seen that, but yeah, though it's the black feminist / versus womanist thing. I'm still learning as it goes as we speak on this issue here. I support all, and I mostly stay out of black feminist way unless they wish to debate me on something like that, or they say something that is really stupid or something that supports white supremacy, or what can be used as white supremacist propaganda. And black men this, black men that, black men this, black men that. Well, but you never mention white people or men in general. I'm gonna have a problem with that because with your explicit language of black men, you are painting a picture that we all suck, and white people are listening and they take your stuff and they buttress your stuff. And they take your stuff as gold, like, hey, this is from the black people's mouth. The black women say that black men are this and that. So I didn't make it up. This is what black women are saying. So when you engage in things that can be used as propaganda for white supremacy,
well, they're going to use that regardless. They're going to say that regardless. But saying a feminist is someone who hates men is the same as saying that a gay man is a sissy and talks like this and acts like this and does this. It's one of those stereotypes that just don't believe the hype.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
Like feminism, when it comes down to it, is just basically saying wanting a woman or females to have the same, standards. They have the same standards politically. They have the same rights.
Social politically, yeah.
Politically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And economically as well.
Right.
Yeah. It's like there's the feminazis. It's like what I said. There's the feminazis here, and then there's the doormat here. There's women that think they're here just specifically for men.
Right.
And then there's the women here that think they're specifically just to destroy the men. And there's that whole left and right wing thing, and a lot of people, they don't know their opposing views. They don't know they're supposed to meet themselves in the middle.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about balance.
One thing I saw a while back ago was on someone else's wall was a bunch of women. They were talking about rape experience, which is something that is very sobering.
Most women go through.
Yeah, because many of those who've suffered such they cannot and they won't speak on this openly. So you have these folks that are really exposing their hearts and their minds and their spirits on this subject. And you know, there's a lot of like, you know, you can, I guess you can call it man hate, but I think it's justified and is honestly not the point of what's going on. So yeah, he has a couple of man hate, a little bit of man hate going on, very much justified. And then you have this one woman who's like, you know, she's like, I forgave the guy who raped me. And then all these other women, they're all black, by the way, they attacked the fuck out of her. They converged and all attacked this woman. And it's like, I was horrified because first and foremost, I'm listening to women explain that they were raped, something that is not going to really happen. I mean, it doesn't really, I mean, it doesn't happen to men that much. So
women forgive for our own sake.
But it
don't give two shits about us.
It's like,
so whenever we go out of our way to actually forgive, and then other women just start beating us emotionally for it, it's very damaging. We already have that damage as far as having to relive that shit in our head over and over again, and then having the balls to just let it go, let go, give God, whatever the case, whatever your situation is. Then you have women who are also rape victims who don't understand the shit that you're going through, but they do. And then it's a double slap to the face because they're like, well, fuck you.
I was horrified because all I saw was a bunch of folks attacking a rape victim. Right. And I was like, she's not saying, and this is explicitly what took place. She was not saying, hey, all y'all need to forgive who raped you. Right. She just said,
I forgive.
Like, this is what I've done
for my own sake
in my life with my situation at hand. She did not tell, like, hey, y'all motherfuckers need to forgive these raping assholes. She didn't say that. She just said, you know, blah, 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 and largely, eventually I've forgiven this guy, blah, blah, this is my experience. They attacked her viciously.
They took that as an indictment of them and their stories and how they were feeling. And again, that's that false dichotomy. It's either, you know, you're over here and you're hating them with us, or you're over there and you're their personal doormat.
Middle ground. It's like,
what about that middle?
Y'all are still rape victims. Still, she's still rape. I mean, what you doing? Like, sometimes stuff like that is a coping mechanism.
Their own way.
Yeah, sometimes stuff like that's a coping mechanism. You know, like she's coping still. Like, she just did something different. She's not telling you, you know. And it's like, well, I'm mansplaining. You know what I'm saying? And it's like everything I say is mansplaining. You know, it's holy shit. I nothing I can do. And the dude who's like a male feminist who I don't trust, because he never says anything that they disagree with. He just let it all happen, let it all fly on his damn wall. Like, you know, like me as the male, I'm trying to defend a rape victim. He just let them all because, you know, it's more important to not say anything or never say anything that'll make black women mad versus actually protect a rape victim being attacked.
I don't know. You can't
Who's
really
also black, by the way,
when it comes to rape victims, though.
That's true. I mean, it wasn't like,
because there's one that's really angry and there's one that's trying to forgive just to forget, and there's different views. Just like poor people in poverty, there's those that buy Jordans, there's those that buy Kmart, there's those that don't buy shit and they save their money and they go to school and there's different ways of dealing with other stuff, and people need to understand that. Because I've actually had to put with my own sexual assault issue, I've had to watch my own child go to kindergarten with that person's child also. And I had to go to school every day and look and just ignore and pretend he wasn't there just to see that. Because we all, and I'm like the strongest of strongest people compared to what a lot of people think. But whenever it comes to that assault and that abuse and stuff like that, I had to actually go there and pretend that motherfucker I didn't know. So it's very difficult. It's very different. There's so many different views. There's so many actions. There's so many reactions. There's so many inactions. It's all just based on perception and reality.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we most certainly trailed off topic, but with that being said, I'll say that it's about that time. So And concerning being professional while black, Tierra, you have any last things to say?
My final thought would I would just basically tell people, don't give a damn. I mean, at the end of the day, no matter how, like the heights that you reach or how far you reach, or all the effort that you're putting into it, you're still you at the end of the day. You still have your skin, and that's not going anywhere. So, a little self-preservation, a little self-care goes a long way. Lowers the, depression, lowers the blood pressure, will make you feel a hell of a lot better about yourself once you realize this is the situation, this is what it's going to be. I can't change them. I shouldn't change myself. I'm going to exist. I'm gonna get this money, and that's gonna be it. I wish I could tell everybody the same thing. I wish I could share my experiences, with the world, and just let them know that they don't, you don't have to, go cooning for them and become their doormat, because at the end of the day, it will not make any difference.
Okay, Rachel Rivera, you have any last things to
add? Basically the same. The reality of the situation is, regardless of guilt, innocence, whatever, you're always going to be guilty until proven innocent, and after you're proven innocent, you're still most likely going to be guilty. And it is best to just, like she said, do what you do, and just not put too much thought into other people, because they're going to put more thought into you only whenever you fuck up. They're never going to put a lot of thought into you when you're doing good. So at least consider the fact that it's unbalanced, uneven. So just do what you do to prove them wrong.
Yeah. Me, the soul brother number one of a kind, I'll say that if I was Tamika Cross or the other lady that this happened with, or any other black person that suffered the same fate, which is thousands, if not millions, I don't know what I would do if I was a doctor and someone prevented me from being a doctor while someone needed a doctor. I don't know what I would do. I'm a very passionate guy, so if you see how passionate I am in regards to fighting racism and sexism, imagine if I was a medical personnel. If I was a doctor or a surgeon and somebody prevented me from saving someone's life, I would lose my shit. I would lose my shit. Like, damn, I would literally take. I don't like using the word literally like that. I will figuratively take a dump in a toilet, then literally lose my figuratively lose my shit. Like, wow, where did I just took this dump? Because I just lost my shit. I'll lose my shit if somebody were to doubt my capabilities. Matter of fact, I lose my shit when someone doubt my capabilities as is. I'm more like, dude, you know who the fuck do you know who you're fucking with? You know who the fuck I am? I already do that as is. So Tamika Cross, I have to say, tip of the hat, ma'am. Tip of the hat, doctor, because you're most certainly a better person than me. And I hope Godspeed for you, that whatever trials or whatever you're putting, you seek to put Delta Airlines through, I hope all that succeeds in your favor. All right. So
right, they want to give her sky miles.
Yeah, you
said denied.
Yeah, so we're rooting for you, darling, and all those who follow. So
the thing is, though, if you actually know CPR and you don't do CPR on somebody who needs it and they die or something happens, then you go to jail. Yep. So I can only imagine if they would have blocked her from doing something, what would have happened?
Yeah, one of them would go. Yeah, one of them would go to jail because they prevented. It's like you getting in the way. Not too sure.
If you are CPR, if you know CPR, if you know this, if you know that, the law is set up against you. If you don't actually do those things to those people, then you're the one that goes to jail.
Yeah.
All right, that might be a localized law, because I think that if you prevent someone from doing such, you can go to jail. Which is, I learned in Arizona, at least where I'm at in Arizona, if you block the door of someone trying to leave during a domestic dispute, you can be thrown in jail for domestic violence. Like the person was trying to cool off and leave, you prevented them from leaving. So you preventing someone from doing the right thing, you are held accountable because now you're the person.
They though. They are too. That's the double whammy. You can block them, but if I know CPR and I don't actually do CPR on this person who's choking and they die, I go to jail. If you stop me from doing that, you go to jail. We're both in jail.
Probably. Texas law is crazy as shit. Texas is almost like Florida.
Well, it's all southern from where I've been. North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas. A lot of places I've been, it's the same law.
That was that Bible Belt thing.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay. Well, to say that it's about that time. Thanks for joining us. Before you leave, if you like what you heard, click like and subscribe to us on iTunes or SoundCloud or wherever you go for your podcast. Do not let this be the last time we hear from you or you hear from us. Follow us on Facebook, AfroSapiophile. And if you want to be heard, you can always leave a voice message at 202-854-1996. That is 202-854-1996. Last but not least, be sure to check us out on AfroSapiophile.com for everything that is awesome, everything that is vicious abolitionist, everything that's cinnamon sophisticate, everything that is savage socialite. So this is Johnny Silvercloud, Ray Rivera, and Sierra signing out. Peace.